40 for Rateable Crest Titans.
Welcome to Special Stage and to the SeaconUK Rally Show, where if you like your rallying in Wales and on fantastic special stages, you are in for a treat. We start off tonight on the Rally Ceredigion, which started in Aberystwyth and was one heck of a spectacle for British rallying. It's the final 2 rounds of the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. And then we move into the forests around the Lan Valley. And from the racecourse in Ludlow, of course, is the Woodpecker Stages Rally, which is round 6 of the MRF Tyres BTRDA Rally Championship and the Pirelli Welsh Rally Championship. But first, from the gravel, it's onto those closed public roads near Aberystwyth.
The JDS Machinery Rally Ceredigion would take place over 2 days and would mark the final 2 rounds of the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship, as well as the final time that we would see the British Rally Championship cruise on asphalt. And with a significant local interest too and a lot of excitement around this event, the entry was a strong one. Over the first day of competition, it would be the lead for Ocean Price and Stefan Prevot. Of course, Ocean reigning British champion. They have a good run, despite not having much seat time this season. Back out in the Polo, after more recent outings in a Skoda, they end the opening day with a healthy 42-second lead. Part of the reason for that lead being so significant would be problems for Myron Evans and Jonathan Jackson. A puncture in the second stage would see them drop down the order, but a fight back on the remaining stages of the day would bring them back within fighting distance of that lead. Their pace out on the stages was clear to see as well. Callum Black and Jack Morton come here with the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship in their mind. The maths was pretty complicated, but we'll simplify it for you. A good result on both days of the event was the best way of getting that championship. And they make a good start, leading the way in our championship cruise. 3rd place overall on the event as well. James Williams and Di Roberts have been looking forward to this, but they were having a nightmare start. They go off on a tricky corner in stage 2. Slick tyres on the grass and mud, not a great combination. The time was ebbing away. They tried their best to get the Fiesta back on the road. The rest of the day wouldn't go without issues either. They clip a couple of bails in the stages, including one in the town centre stage in the evening in Aberystwyth, causing some damage to the car, but thankfully only cosmetic. They end the day 4th place in that very second-hand looking rally car. The gap back to James Ford and Neil Shanks would be a little bigger, but they were still not letting the others get away from them too far. 40 seconds the difference by the end of the day. Gary Pearson and Daniel Barrett were struggling a little, committing to the high-speed sections on the stages, and there were a lot of those this weekend. They make it to the end of day 1 though, and in one piece, and in 6th place overall with a relatively clean run. Neil Roskell and Andrew Roughhead would be another crew to get caught out on the tricky hairpins through the second stage. This wasn't going to help their championship bid, losing a handful of time on the same section that caught out Williams and would ultimately put them in 2nd place in the Pro Tyre standings by the end of day 1. That, of course, being the penultimate round of the championship. So, points on the board. The silver lining would be at the end of the day when the pair put in a 2nd fastest time on the town centre stage. One of very few to give the crowd a good donut to cheer about. Mark Kelly and Will Atkins have been getting faster and faster. They're here without a championship to fight for, but that wouldn't mean that they were going to back off, as you might expect. They get caught out, though, on the same corner as Roskell, not losing quite as much time and ending the day 8th place overall. Last time we saw Kevin and Owen Davies in the Polo, they were impressing with their pace on the tricky Manx lanes. This weekend, it was more of a home rally for the pair, and they were settling into some good times out there. 9th place on the results after not being in the car for some months. And rounding out the top 10 leaderboard at the end of day 1 will be John Dalton and Gwynfor Jones, the first of the 2-wheel drive crews on the results as well at this stage in the Darien. On to day 2, and that two-wheel drive lead wouldn't change as John Dalton and Grimper Jones keep hold of that position throughout the second day of competition, taking 10th place on the leaderboard and indeed the class victory in the Darien. Andrew Purcell and Shane Buckley will be new names in the top 10 on day 2, moving up as far as 9th place overall by the end of the rally in that polo. A 10-second time penalty applied, but not making much difference to their overall position. We were, of course, staring down the barrel of a championship decider, this being the last round of the Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. Sadly, we lose Neil Roskell and Andrew Roughhead. They crash out on day 2, not making it out to the end of the rally and having to settle for 2nd place in that championship battle this season, albeit a very well-deserved and impressive 2nd place. For Mark Kelly and Will Atkins, it will be 8th place to end the rally. It hadn't been a straightforward fight, but they will be happy to get to the finish and keeping a good close battle going on in the lanes around them on the leaderboard. Consistent day 2 times would also see Kevin and Owen Davies moving the right way up the leaderboard into 7th place. A good end to the rally for the polo pair, showing that pace we'd seen on their previous 2 outings so far this season, well, that was no fluke. For James Ford and Neil Shanks, another crew who have impressed on the sealed surface this year, it will be 6th place overall. They'd switch positions on the results on day 2, ending the rally with that position dropped into 6th, but still a great finish for the pair in the Citroën. Just about scrabbling ahead of Ford and Shanks on the leaderboard would be Gary Pearson and Daniel Barrett, gaining some confidence on these stages as the rally went into day 2. Perhaps a few less high-speed, committed areas in these stages see them taking 5th place at the end of the event, as well as 2nd of the British Rally Championship crews. Callum Black and Jack Morton then had done everything that they needed to on day 1, and they do exactly the same on day 2, making it 2 wins from 2 on the final rounds of the championship this weekend. We crowned our new 2023 Pro Tyre Asphalt Rally Champions here in Wales then. James Williams and Di Roberts gained as much time back as they could after their day 1 problems, ending the rally with the final step on the podium overall. That result, however, would be the first British Rally Championship win for James, who took maximum points there too. There was frustration though. That puncture on day 1 had likely cost Myron Evans and Jonathan Jackson victory this weekend. They'd end the event 2nd overall, only 22 seconds off the lead. Not as much as they lost with the puncture. But their great comeback had secured them a fantastic result nonetheless. All of that then means he's lost none of that speed that took him to the BRC title last season. It's victory for Ocean Price, Stefan Privot alongside. A fantastic end to what had been a good weekend for the pair, beating their finish of 2nd place on this event last year. So at the end of a long, challenging rally and one that we will all be talking about for many years to come, here's a reminder of how those final overall positions shaped up. The Woodpecker Stages would host a number of championships, with the MRF Tyres BTRDA Rally Series and the Pirelli Welsh Rally Championship taking place on the Ludlow-based event. And it would also play host to the British Historic Championship, which is where we'll take a look first. It would perhaps be no surprise to see a local crew topping the timesheets on the Woodpecker Stages, and this weekend, that honour would go to Joe Price and Chris Brooks. They have a good, clean run to end the rally with victory, 11 seconds ahead by the finish. 2nd place would go to a highly anticipated return for George Lepley and Dale Bowen, this time out in the Mitsubishi Galant VR4. They would, of course, be in a different class, with the car being 4-wheel drive amongst the escorts. But in the overall standings, they do enough for a 2nd place finish on their debut outing in the car. Group A was back. Roger Chilman and Patrick Walsh would end the morning with 5th place overall. But they'd build on that through the afternoon, moving their way up the leaderboard to finish on the final step of the podium this weekend. Also taking with that maximum points in the British Historic Rally Championship battle. Nick Elliott and Dave Price were still enjoying bringing that fantastic Fiat 131 out to entertain the crowds. And boy, does it leave a smile on your face, pushing that car well as well. It was great to see some variety coming back to the top of British historic rallying. And that Fiat continues to give the Escorts a run for their money. Elliott ends the rally fourth. For Gareth James and Stefan Evans, it will be a fifth place finish. 40 seconds back from the Fiat pair up ahead, but with a little more than that themselves on the times, giving them a bit of a comfort margin. And that crew behind, nevertheless pushing, would be Adrian Hetherington and Ronan O'Neill, really pedalling that Escort in their usual exciting fashion and flying the Irish flag on the results this weekend. Will Onions and Dave Williams, another local crew, to be having a good run. They make their way through the rally with minimal dramas, taking 7th place overall. Richard Goff and Jez Rogers would take 8th place overall. Richard, a former winner of the Woodpecker Rally, of course, on a number of occasions, out in that fantastic X-Works Escort this weekend, using it exactly how the rally gods intended. Rory and Paul McCann would be the fastest of the Category 2 crews on the rally. They finish with 9th place overall and the lead in their class and the category, always pedalling that Avenger well.
And now they just think that Rose Cakes have
And rounding out the top 10 will be Josh Carr and Ocean Owen. 2nd place in the Cat 2 standings behind McCann as well in their Mark 1 Escort. So before we head over and check out the results from the BTRDA and Welsh Championship sections of the rally, here's a quick reminder of the times at the top of the historic standings. The Interclub Rally on the Woodpecker would be where our BTRDA and Welsh Championship battles would be taking place on the stages this weekend. And it would be Aaron Newby and Jamie Edwards managing to come out on top there. They were strengthening their fight for the BTRDA title, but with 2 more rounds remaining. It was far from over just yet. Close behind them at the end of the rally would be Elliot Payne and Tom Woodburn. They gave the Skoda pair a good run and something to think about, ending the rally just 3 seconds behind by the end of the day. And it would be a fantastic drive for Rob Wilson and Richard Crozier in the Evo. The B13 pair always going well, and this weekend, no exception. They take the final step on the podium and the class victory in that Ravenel-backed car. They'd be chased down by fellow B13 Class Evo crew Russ Thompson and Stephen Link. Giant killing, the name of the day. And they end the event 4th place overall, just 6 seconds back from their class rivals after a fantastic battle. For Alistair Ginley and Craig Thorley, it will be 5th place. They put in some good times in the Fiesta, claiming another strong result to add to that season tally. Ian Bainbridge and Will Atkins, meanwhile, end the event with 6th. They were clearly pushing out there and using plenty of road in their strong run to that position. For Trevor Gamble and Phil Kenny, it was 7th. They'd be around a minute back from Bainbridge, but have managed to hold off the challenge from others behind. And Bob Morgan and Aid Williams had a good run through in the Skoda this weekend as well. They were the last of the B14 crews in the top 10, ending the rally 22 seconds back from Gamble up ahead. Just sneaking into the top 10 by the end of the event would be this man, Simon Rogers, James Howe alongside, 9th place, and back to the B13 results for this end of the top 10, the pair taking 3rd in class as well. But rounding out the top 10 would be Daniel Sigurðarson and Astra Sigurdardóttir. The Icelandic pair only 2 seconds behind Rogers for that position on the overall results and in the class. Fastest of our 2-wheel drive crews by the end of the rally will be Ben Friend and Cliff Simmons. They'd also take the historic victory within the Interclub event in 11th place overall as well. The 2-wheel drive field, especially the BTRDA Silver Star fight, would take a turn for the worse though in stage 4. Boyd Kershaw and Keegan Rees were pushing to try and get a good result, for their championship, and they go off the road. A scary moment, but both crew members okay, even though it was game over for this weekend. The R2 battle was hotting up as well. It would see Robert Proudlock and Stephen Brown taking victory in the Opal Adam. It was a good run to lead the category and take that win by a strong margin. There was some bad luck after a good day on the stages, though, in the category for Liam Clark and Tony Edwards. They go off in the afternoon, and despite the lack of damage on the Fiesta, it was stuck and needed recovering. The 1400 category would also see some changes throughout the day. Nigel and Kaz Jenkins would frustratingly for them retire on the second stage with the engine going on the Nova, meaning their championship fight would move on to the next round. A good benchmark out on these stages in a 1400 car though. Dave Brick and Emma Clark were back, but it wouldn't last long. Retirement for them as well. Fuel issues later in the event for the Nova pair. So with all of that chaos and movement on the leaderboard, it would be victory by the end of the rally for Dylan Fowler-Bishop and Dan Evans in the Micra, taking the 1400 win with just a 2-second lead over the Corsa of Chris Bush and Rob Bryn-Jones. So with the Woodpecker stages complete and 2 more rounds of the BTRDA Rally Championship remaining to sew up those championships, the order looked like this by the end of the day in the Interclub category. Making a welcome return after not running in 2022, the Hillsford Three Shires stages would make its return to the calendar in style, but not as part of a championship. So this weekend, the crews could enjoy fighting for overall positions instead. For 2023, it will be Mark Kelly and Di Roberts coming out on top. The pair putting in some fantastic times on the stages to take victory by 32 seconds. Second place will be former Asphalt Rally champion Steve Wood, with Pro Tyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship coordinator Paul Morris alongside. Paul having a well-deserved run in that front-running car after his hard work on the championship had finished for the season. Second place, a great way to round off their season for sure. And the final step on the podium this weekend would go to Roger Duckworth and Alan Cook. The Fiesta pair started with a bit of a rough, shaky few stages, but they got going well on the stages after that and will be more than happy with that finish. This weekend will be a chance for team boss Melvin Evans to get out in one of his cars, leaving son Myron to look after things in the service area. Out this weekend with Mark Glenister alongside. The pair would take a welcome 4th place overall. The fight will be close here as well, with Rob Swan and Tom Woodburn breathing down their necks and ultimately settling for 5th place by the finish. They were only 8 seconds back from Evans on the timesheets as well. Andy Davies and Michael Gilby were having a lot of fun and were improving as the season went on as well. Not used to the R5 enough to be pushing for victories just yet, but don't rule it out, they can't be far off. They end the rally 6th place. The still inimitable John Endry will be out this weekend in his distinctive yellow Mitsubishi Mirage, and with the equally inimitable Claire Williams alongside once again. They finished just 3 seconds back from Davies at the end of the rally. Philip Hopkins and Alan Edwards will be the first of our non-R5 and Rally 2 cars through the finish line. They guide the Evo round to a fantastic 8th place overall. Craig Fleming and Paul Rumery beat their previous results on this event, their best being 10th, and last year the pair retired. This time around, it will be 9th place overall in the Subaru. And rounding out the top 10 will be Roger Moran and Dan Petrie in the Skoda. A good clean run through these Worcestershire lanes for the pair to that position. Fastest of our 2-wheel drive crews on the Three Shires this time out, and they were blisteringly quick, will be Brad Cole and Neil Coleman. The pair getting away with a small off in the morning loop, but keeping things clean and tidy after that to take 11th overall and the class victory. And they'd finished just 5 seconds ahead of the escort of Hugh James and Lewis Sim in 12th place overall. So So that's it. The Hillsford Three Shires stages has delivered. Everybody loving their time on these Worcestershire lanes. The results at the top of our leaderboard looked like this by the end of the day. The historic Rally Festival based at Weston Park would round off the month with a more relaxing weekend of motorsport action. The non-competitive demonstration event providing a great way for the public to get up close to the cars and the drivers that have been household names to many rally fans over the years. And with an actual Lombard RAC rally stage for them to drive on, it was something special for the crews as well, rekindling a bit of the magic that got us all into this in the first place. Before we end this month's edition of the SeaconUK Rally Show, we'll leave you with just a small selection of the fantastic and pretty iconic cars that were out entertaining the crowd. Next month, we'll have more rally action, this time from the forests, as we take a look back at the Track Rod Rally in Yorkshire and the Cambrian Rally in North Wales. For now, though, thank you for watching.
This year, that's quite